Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a world where hospitals are almost empty. Not because people are afraid of going, not because doctors don't exist, but because diseases do not exist the way we know them today. Imagine parents no longer worrying about cancer. Imagine children growing up without the fear of diabetes, asthma, or genetic disorders. Imagine a future where heart attacks are history, where strokes are preventable, where Alzheimer's is treatable, and where the very idea of chronic disease becomes something children will one day read about in history books. Now the question we face today is simple but powerful. Is this future a fantasy or is it a possibility? Is the dream of a world without disease hype or is it hope? And what does science really say? To answer this, we must understand where humanity began. 100 years ago, people died from infections like pneumonia, tuberculosis, cholera, and smallpox. A simple cut on the skin could kill. A fever could take a child away in hours, but science changed human destiny. Vaccines, antibiotics, sanitation, and public health systems turned deadly diseases into manageable problems. Life expectancy doubled, child mortality dropped, modern medicine saved billions of lives. Then came the next wave. Biotechnology. Machines scanned our bodies. Genetic tests revealed our risks. Organ transplants saved lives. Cancer treatments evolved from poison to precision. But even with all this progress, chronic diseases remained a heavy burden. People lived longer, but not always healthier. Heart disease, cancer, dementia, diabetes, these became the new killers. They are slow, complicated, and deeply connected to aging. For decades, scientists tried to cure them, but the results were mixed. But something extraordinary happened in the 21st century. A revolution of technologies that didn't exist in the past. CRISPR gene editing, mRNA therapeutics, immunotherapy, organ regeneration, nanotechnology, stem cell therapy, AI-driven drug discovery, and epigenetic reprogramming. These technologies opened the door no generation before us could imagine. The door to preventing disease before it begins, repairing damage before symptoms appear, and restoring health at the cellular level. Let's follow this scientific journey in a simple way. In the early 2020s, CRISPR was used to cure blood diseases. mRNA vaccines stopped global pandemics. Immunotherapy attacked cancer with the power of the immune system. AI discovered new drugs at speeds humans couldn't match. New sensors tracked our body signals continuously. For the first time, we began catching diseases in their earliest stages before they became dangerous. Fast forward into the 2030s. Scientists identified the genetic mutations responsible for hundreds of hereditary diseases. They edited embryos to prevent these disorders. They developed therapies that replaced faulty genes with healthy ones. Cancer screening became ultra-sensitive. A simple blood test could detect cancer at stage 0 long before tumors formed. Alzheimer's risk was detectable 10 to 20 years before symptoms. Heart disease was predicted using AI models analyzing billions of data points. Cholesterol, genetics, behavior, sleep, stress, environment. This decade changed the definition of disease. Disease became visible before it became real. And once you can see the enemy early, preventing it becomes much easier. Then came the 2040s, the breakthrough decade. Scientists began using gene therapy to strengthen the immune system permanently. Imagine editing genes so your body naturally destroys cancer cells before they grow. Imagine fixing the genes that cause high cholesterol. Imagine correcting mutations responsible for diabetes. Imagine altering the immune system so it no longer overreacts in autoimmune diseases. This was the decade where medicine moved from treatment to transformation. One of the biggest breakthroughs came with epigenetic rejuvenation, a process that resets aging cells to a younger state. Researchers applied this to mice, then primates, and then cautiously to humans. Aging itself began to slow down. Organs stayed young longer, tissues repaired faster, the immune system remained strong. And because aging is the root of most diseases, slowing aging slowed disease itself. Then there was organ regeneration, bioprinted hearts, artificial kidneys grown from stem cells, lungs repaired with gene therapy, spinal cords healed using nanotechnology. Medicine stopped replacing organs with transplants and began regrowing them from a patient's own cells. This eliminated rejection and reduced waiting lists. By the late 2040s, AI had become the world's greatest doctor. It could detect disease patterns from your heartbeat, your breath, your sweat, your voice, your sleep data. It could analyze billions of medical records and predict disease years before any symptoms. If AI saw that your brain proteins were misfolding, it recommended early intervention. If AI detected that your metabolism was shifting toward diabetes, it adjusted your diet, exercise plan, and supplements automatically. If AI sensed inflammation patterns that lead to cancer, it recommended gene-based or immune-based treatments. Now imagine a world in 2050 where these innovations converge, a world where disease prevention begins at birth. Babies are screened genetically, weak genes are corrected, high-risk conditions are neutralized. Children receive personalized nutrition based on their DNA. Adults get monthly health reports from their smart wearables. Early-stage disease is detected instantly by AI before it can harm the body. Organ damage is repaired using stem cells. Cancer is treated with immune engineering. Chronic diseases are managed at the molecular level. This world is not disease-free, but disease-resistant. Not immortal, but healthier. Not perfect, but radically transformed. But now comes the biggest question. If we can prevent disease, will everyone get access? Or will a world without disease become a privilege only for the wealthy? Will Africa, Asia, and South America have the same access as Europe and North America? Will gene therapy become universal, or will it create a biological divide? Ethics enters the conversation here. Gene editing can cure disease, but it can also be misused for non-medical enhancements. AI can detect disease before symptoms, but it can also compromise privacy. Biological data becomes more valuable than gold. Insurance companies may demand genetic scans. Governments may monitor health data. Employers may screen workers. Who controls your biology in a world where disease can be eliminated? Another challenge, evolution. If we eliminate all genetic diseases artificially, do we disrupt natural selection? Do we accidentally allow harmful mutations to accumulate? Do we change the human species in ways we can't predict? We also cannot ignore psychological consequences. If people stop fearing disease, will they take health for granted? Will they adopt dangerous lifestyles thinking technology will save them? Will medicine become overconfident? Will people underestimate risks? These ethical, biological, and psychological risks are real, but so is the hope.